Okay, students, we'll continue with our Seeing People Off by Max Bevan. Continue reading with our essay. My wandering eye alighted on a rather portly, middle aged man who was talking earnestly from the platform to a young lady at the next window, but one of ours. His fine profile was vaguely familiar to me. The young lady was evidently American, and he was evidently English. Otherwise, I should have guessed from his impressive air that he was her father. I wished I could hear what he was saying. I was sure he was giving the very best advice, and the strong tendencies of his grace was really beautiful. He seemed magnetic, and he poured out his final injunctions. I could feel something of his magnetism, even where I stood, and the magnetism, like the profile, was vaguely familiar to me. Where had I experienced it? So basically, while he's saying goodbye to his friend in one compartment near this one window, over to the side he looks and he sees a middle-aged man who's doing the same to a young American lady. So and this young lady, he remarks that he cannot be his romantic interest or his daughter because she's an American. Okay, so and she can't be his romantic interest because she seems too young for him. But there seems to be a leave taking happening, a similar sort of thing. But it doesn't seem to be that awkward. But he sort of recognizes this guy from somewhere. His profile seems very, his build, his physique, and all seems very familiar to him. So he can't put his finger on it, but he thinks that, okay, I've seen this guy somewhere. I've experienced this sort of magnetism. He saw that this guy had this sort of a magnetism to him. There are some people who just walk into the room and hold everybody's attention, right? He was someone like that. And he's thinking that our author is thinking, Matt Beerham is thinking that, oh, I've experienced this somewhere. So let's see who this guy is. In a flash, I remembered the man was Hubert Lee Ross. But how changed since I last saw him. That was 7 or 8 years ago in the Strand. Okay, the Strand is a name of a play that is popular. So in London, in many big cities actually in the West, there is a huge attraction or a subculture um, which uh, uh, where people like to go to place, experience place, and um, and enjoy this form of art form. And well, so basically, he was one of these actors over there, Hubert Lee Ross, and he remembers it. This was from the time when the author was a dramatic critic. So he was one of these people who um, wrote criticisms of the plays that he watched and the characters and the actors that played in these. So this is something which is considered much more respectable, um, and actors from the Broadway, from the theaters like these, um, are really respected and enjoy their fame a lot in these countries. So this is what we are talking about here. So he remembers him as his old friend from these times. He was then, as usual, out of an engagement and borrowed half a crown. So right away he remembers that he borrowed a coin from um, uh, our author. So this is what happens. It's a very normal thing for people to experience. Is if anyone borrows money from us and they disappear for years, when we encounter them again, that's the first thing that we are going to think about, and that is this is what seems to happen to our author too. So it seems a privilege to lend anything to him. He was always magnetic, and why his magnetism has never made him successful on the London stage was always a mystery to me. So he was not completely successful in the London stage, and he was an aspiring actor. And as you know, just like in the film industry, not everyone makes to the top. Not everyone actually is successful. There are many people who actually uh, are churned out from by the system, and there are many people with a lot of talent, but they don't make it because for n number of reasons actually. So he was an excellent actor and a man of sober habit. But like many others of his kind, Hubert Lee Ross, I do not, of course, give the actual name by which he was known, drifted seedily into the provinces. Here, drifted into the provinces means that he slowly went out of that culture, out of that mm, light of the plays and being an actor in the London stage and all. And he joined the provinces in the sense that normal people actually. So he just disappeared out of sight basically uh, long ago. And I, like everyone else, ceased to remember him. So like everyone else, even he forgot him. But now him he comes across him in this interesting way here. So let us continue reading on. It was strange to see him after all these years, here on the platform of Euston, looking so prosperous and solid. It was not only the flesh that he had put on, but also the clothes that made him hard to recognize. In the old days, as an imitation fur coat was seemed to be an integral part of him, as were his ill-shone lantern, jaws. But now his costume was a model of rich and somber moderation, drawing, not calling attention to itself. He looked like a banker. Not only anyone would have been proud to be seen off by him. So now that he looked at him, looked like he was making a lot of money. He looks prosperous. He put on weight as the years went by, and he says that anyone would have been uh, proud to be seen off by him. So he was saying his farewell and the goodbyes to this American lady, right, young lady. So he was thinking, oh, this guy seems to be in a better place right now, and he was wondering what kind of profession he gotten into right away. So that's the basic thing that everyone looks forward to. Like even if you meet people after a long time, that's the first question they ask you. They ask you like, well, um, uh, what are you doing right now? So basically, he's just thinking about all these things um, before even going up to him and to meet him. So let us see what happens now. Stand back, please. The train was about to start, and I waved farewell to my friend. Leros did not stand back. He stood clasping his both the hands of the young American. Stand back, sir, please, he obeyed, but quickly darted forward again to whisper some final word. I think there were tears in her eyes. So basically, this was a very intimate sort of farewell. He doesn't even let go of her hand, so, though the TT or someone in charge over there was telling this person to stand back. And he goes back to whisper something, and she gets all teary eyed. So it's a very emotional, sort of intimate moment that he was having. So it is quite a contrast to what kind of experience, an awkward experience that our author Max had um, with his own friend. So um, there certainly were tears in his when at length, having watched the train out of sight, he turned around. So basically, there were tears in both of their eyes, and it was a very emotional and intense sort of moment. He seemed nevertheless delighted to see me. He asked me where I had been hiding all these years, and simultaneously repaid me the half crown as though it had been borrowed yesterday. So right away he walks up to him and says like, "Where have you been hiding all these years?" And returns his money to him. He linked his arm in mine and walked me. So just like old friends just reconnecting, they lock their arms together and just start walking and conversing with each other slowly along the platform, saying what pleasure he with what pleasure he read my dramatic criticisms every Saturday. So he informed him that he was reading his dramatic criticisms in the magazines or the papers, and he really enjoyed them. So let's move on. It. I told him in return how much he was missed on the stage. Ah, yes, he said. I never act on the stage nowadays. He laid some emphasis on the word stage, and I asked him where, and then he did act. Where then did he act? He did act. On the platform, he answered. You mean this? You mean, said I, that you recite at concerts? He smiled. This, he whispered, striking his stick on the ground, is the platform I mean. Had his mysterious prosperity unhinged him? He looked quite sane. I begged him to be more explicit. So our author is completely confused now. What does he mean, this platform? He kept saying that now he's acting on this platform and he's pointing to the um, uh, train platform. And he's first confused and said, like, is he singing in concerts? What is happening? What does he mean, this platform? And he wonders that maybe getting too rich like has completely made him go made him a little bit crazy or something. But and then he just asked, like, please explain, what do you mean, this platform? I suppose, he said presently, giving me a light for the cigar which he had offered me. You have been seeing a friend of, I assented. Hmm, said. He asked me what I suppose he had been doing. I said that I had watched him doing the same thing. No, he said gravely. That lady was not a friend of mine. I met her for the first time this morning, less than half an hour ago. Here, and again he struck the platform with his stick. So this is like a revelation that he gives him, that this lady, whom he was giving a very intense and emotional farewell to, was not even his friend. He had met her half an hour ago, and now just